So what are we looking for from the Carolina Panthers? What can you actually take away from the Carolina Panthers? Well, first of all, we're going to see the starters more than we saw last year. Last year, there was essentially one drive for the starting offense. This year, more than that, they're going to play in the first preseason game and the second preseason game. Dave Canales has passed that along. Austin Corbett, who's one of the two competing to be the starting center, spoke to the media, and he gave his thoughts on Dave Canales deciding to play the starters more in preseason games.
His adjustment on the fly, right? You go from the first year learning from that to, okay, how can we kind of improve to be able to hit the ground running earlier in the season? And I think that's his mentality right now of like, hey, we need to lock in to find our processes. How are we going to get ready? What's your process going to be? How are you going to handle an in-game situation? And that way when week one rolls around in Jacksonville, we're ready to go.
Starters are going to play. What do you want to see? I'll tell you what I want to see. I want to see physical dominance. Okay, because I understand in the preseason, I know there's a term that people that have been fans of Carolina for at least a few years now don't like, keeping it vanilla. They don't like that. Keeping it bland, they don't like that either. But there is a justification in the preseason of not showing much of your scheme, not showing much of your playbook, right? You want to keep it vanilla. You don't want to tip anybody off unless you're doing the overthinking thing of like showing a play now that you're going to run the counter off of in week one so they watch it on film. But I don't even think opposing teams are really watching much of preseason because they expect you to be hiding and they expect you to be, laying traps just like that. So they're like, we're not even going to study it.
It's a lot easier for me to pick up on individual tendencies than the actual scheme.
And part of the way I think about it is you can hide playbook, you can hide scheme, but you can't hide speed and power.
Yeah.
Right?
How do you release off the line?
If I tell you to run straight, you're not going to run 80% in a preseason game because you're like, I don't want to show them how fast I am. Like, you're going to go run the route. So I don't care if it is a simple play. I don't care if it is a simple run. I don't care if it is, generic halfback dive. I want the offensive line to explode off the ball and move bodies. I don't care if it is a very simple, one-on-one beating route. I want this year's team for Carolina to show a certain level of physical talent. Because one of the things about the last few years with the Carolina Panthers, when they've been bad, right? And remember, you're only a season away. There's last year, the year before that, you were the worst team in the NFL. You had the number 1 overall pick. You didn't own it, but you had it, right? There were certain things that I was watching, and I was just going, oh, there's nothing they can do about that, right? What do you want me to do, right? You're not good enough, for lack of a better term. Like, the other team was bigger, faster, stronger, and you could be in the right position, you could be using the right technique, and the roster wasn't put together in a way that could realistically compete. And with 2 years now of Dan Morgan, what is he looking for? He's looking for dogs. What is he looking for? Big, tall, strong, fast, guys with that mentality. You should start to look like it. Right? Even something as simple as drafting a wide receiver 8th overall. The wide receivers that have gotten open, the last 2 years, have had to get open in large part with wit and guile. Right? I don't think Adam Thielen at this point in his career is doing much of the, I'm just going to outrun this guy in front of me. What he is doing is, I see what defense they're running. I know where there's a soft spot in the defense. Right here is where they're going to be passing me off from zone to zone. This is where I can get open. Which is great, and it's talent, and it's useful, but occasionally you need a guy to be a guy. Teteroa McMillan has things he needs to work on as a young player. We talked about it in FanFest, right? The reports out of there pretty unanimously were he was having a hard time getting off press coverage, man press coverage. He needs to work on his release, needs to work on being physical. Fine, right? That's going to happen occasionally for a young player. You're going to have things you need to work on. There should also be moments where you're just looking at him going, oh, that guy's different, right? There should also be moments where you're looking at it and going, yeah, I don't know what the defense was supposed to do about that. I always, for some reason, every time I think of like the stereotypical color commentator things, just things that are said in every game, in my brain, it's the voice of Madden. It's always John Madden doing it. But I have like one of the things you hear every game is, that was good defense, better offense, right? Or that was good offense, better defense. Where it's nobody made a mistake. It's just the other team made a physical play that was better. Right? It's my offensive coordinator for quarterbacks used to call it offense by accident. Right? Which is like you made a bad read, you threw it to a covered receiver, but you threw it so accurately that the defensive player that was in the right spot still couldn't make the catch and it got through to the receiver. Like that's offense by accident, he used to call it. Which he would say we shouldn't do, but part of you was like, "No, I got the gun, coach. I'm gonna fit it right into that little window across the middle." I want to see the Panthers look different physically than they have in the past. Guys like Jimmy Horn Jr., right? He might be 5'9", 170, 5'8", 175, whatever he officially is, but the reports are he's got speed that looks different on an NFL field. Right now, Xavier Legette was supposed to be that last year. It appears he was playing most of the year with an injury. There weren't a ton of moments last year where he was out there just running by dudes. Maybe he does that this year now that he's had the surgery and his foot is healthy. Like, I want to see some physically gifted individuals. I want to see Robert Hunt pull, right? And like, I always think of Jason Kelce for this, where they slow it down and are like, look at Jason Kelce getting out into the open field. I want to see things you don't have to hide. Because I'm cool if Dave Canales doesn't want to call his super secret plays, right? The Waterboy green notebook. I'm cool if he doesn't want to show the goods. But you can call a basic play and have your players make great plays. And great plays, I don't even mean like it doesn't have to be an 80-yard touchdown. I just mean a play where you pop off tape. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see strides physically from a like size, speed, power of the roster. That's what I'm looking for this preseason. And reps. I think the starter should play a lot. Mostly because I think Bryce Young needs reps. And I don't want him out there with scrubs. So like if Bryce is out there, you got to be out there, Icky. If Bryce is out there, you got to be out there, Thielen. Like, sorry, but if he needs the reps, you need to be providing them with him.
And overall, at least you're talking skill players, it's a young group. Like, it really is a young group because think 4 of your top 5 receivers are either first or second year players in the form of McMillan, Legette, Coker, and Horn Jr. Like you mentioned, Jadeveon Sanders, just a second year player. Mitchell Evans is a rookie. I mean, those are your 1 and 2 at tight end right there as well. I mean, if Chuba Hubbard wants to sit, that's fine. That's totally okay by me. But ETN needs to get carries as well. Overall, the skill group is still a pretty young group. And like you said, they need as many reps as possible.
And if you're sitting Chuba, I am looking at Rico Dowdle and saying, if we don't trust Trevor Etienne in pass protection yet, like you're playing a decent amount because got to protect Bryce.
Sure.
Got to protect Bryce. Got to protect Chuba also. Got to protect Bryce.